Hello, hello, everybody. It's
Hello.
it's another Wednesday night. It's another episode of Open Shutter,
Yes,
and we
sir.
are all here. We've got Evans, we've got Kobby, and we've got Paul. Um,
Hey.
Meeks couldn't make it tonight. Brian couldn't make it tonight, and a little later on, we actually have a special guest coming on named Laura, a local Toronto model, to give us her perspective on the topic of tonight's show, which is going to be how to talk to your models, both to be respectful and also to get the most out of your session with them.
So key.
Very key, and something that a lot of people don't pay much attention to. So we've got a couple guys here who do a lot of portrait work, and they'll definitely have some good insights for us, I'm sure. Anyway, let's go around the table quick and do some introductions. My name is Brian McGowan. I am a Brampton, Ontario-based photographer. Do some video stuff. I've got a YouTube channel. Actually, everybody here has YouTube channels. All their links are on the bottom, so you can
go check us out.
Yeah, check everybody out. Give them a sub. Give them a like. Comment on their videos. Go from there. That's it for me. This way for Evans.
Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Evans. I'm also based in Brampton, Ontario. I'm a portrait and weddings photographer. But, as a part-time or as for fun, I shoot other stuff. My name is Evans. I'm also based in Brampton, Ontario. Welcome to the channel. And I hope you guys enjoy today's show, as usual.
Totally. Is it Kobby's turn? I'll let Kobby go. You just, yeah. Man, I love your shirt.
Thanks.
I love your shirt.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kobby Catalyst. I'm a portrait fashion photographer based in Sacramento, California. I've been shooting human beings for 5 years. And throughout the journey, it's been interesting the way I've been able to develop that kind of relationship, talking to models. So today is going to be fun, just sharing our experiences, the do's and the don'ts.
I love it, man. I love it. Thanks everyone for jumping on again. If this is your first time on the show, we do weekly shows on Wednesdays and we rotate our channel. So go check us out. All the details is in the description. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Paul, based in Toronto. My YouTube channel is about like photography and like the journey of and the ups and downs. And some of it makes sense and some of it doesn't, but it's all fun. And I also run a photography meetup group called Get Out Shoot. We're doing virtual stuff during the stay-at-home year-long lockdown, until end of February, but who knows how long it's going to go. We're doing some Zoom virtual meetup stuff, so go check us out at getoutshoot.com. And I think this week's going to be really good because I don't think we've ever actually talked about this topic before, like formally.
Yeah, you haven't really. I went through the past before I.
You went through all our stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's important because you don't know what you don't know until you actually have to do it, and then you're like, oh, how do I actually do this? So I think there's going to be some good nuggets of information to how to get more out of your portrait shoot, because time is money, as they say. We hope you're getting paid.
Yeah, we hope, right?
We hope you're getting paid. What do I know? I don't know anything.
All right, so I guess we'll just start off with posing and how you communicate posing, and I'd love to hear from Mr. Kobby Catalyst how he poses his models, because he gets some great looks out of his models. Check him out on IG. Check him out.
Yes, on all social media platforms, Kobby Catalyst.
Yes.
I'm always happy when I say that. I don't know why.
On the internet.
It's interesting to talking to models, especially in terms of posing, in terms of them reconstructing themselves. Because one thing that most people actually tend to forget is that although they are the subjects of the shoot, they are human beings too.
Yeah.
And they still have rights.
Yes.
They have laws that protect them. So you treating them as objects might be you infringing on their rights. And there are consequences for doing that.
Oh God, things are getting deep already, man.
Yeah. That's
I'm sorry.
I was hoping for.
All right, okay, let's get into her.
Yeah.
I know I have a very technical channel. I'm sorry,
yeah.
guys. I'm not a fun one.
I want you to lay it all out.
Up there, and then here.
No, you're making a good point though. There are certain boundaries that you absolutely do not cross. Yeah.
So with someone who has been an introvert for a long time, I know what it means when it comes to space and boundary, because it might be cool to you that you hug everyone you come across, but it doesn't mean that everyone behaves the same way.
Mm-hmm.
So what I always do is during the shoot, especially when they are doing their makeup, that's when I try to form that rapport with the model. And forming the rapport doesn't mean I'm going to ask like, oh, what did you eat today and stuff like that. It's
Right.
going to be, oh, how was your day and everything, but I'm going to ask, hey, so what do you think about people touching your hair?
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to be in a casual conversation, and some of them will go like, especially for the models I have shot, most of them had natural hair, so it was a huge question for me. And then they'll go like, I don't like people touching my hair with their dirty hands and blah blah blah.
Wow.
Because you want to gauge something. How much can you go?
Yeah. Okay. So you're kind of probing. You're kind of probing a little bit.
Yeah, you're probing without really interrogating.
Yeah.
So you keep talking. Like for me, like I start from my hair. I go like, oh, I'm trying to grow my hair, but it's so difficult because people keep touching my hair every time. And then they'll go like, yeah, I don't like that at all. I don't like people touching my hair at all. Then okay, that is one. And then you go like, well, sometimes they do, especially when they're hugging me, because that's how most people greet me. And then they go like, well, I'm not really a touchy person. I don't like people touching me and all of that. Now, during the shoot, one thing you can do, that's one way of finding out. Another way of finding out how much boundary to give the person is using the camera. So there's a technique that I use, especially for a bit older people, more conservative people. You go close to them with the camera, and then see at what point they start to draw back a little bit. That's how much space you have.
Okay.
Then you come back to your normal self and they calm down because they feel like they've shown you how much you can come, and you back out of respect. Okay. Now, things like another thing I would say is, I know it's a whole lot. It's like
I like it. I like it. It's very James Bond, man. Very James Bond.
Yeah. Another thing that you have to focus on is how you call certain parts of their body. Don't say, I want you to move your, I don't know if they are going to censor this video. I'm sorry. But I want you to move your butt. You can't say that.
No.
And you can't say, turn your head this way. And then you pull the person's head, or you say, bring your elbow to your neck. Like, try as much as possible not to mention parts of their body, because one thing you should be concerned about is you don't want someone to feel insecure about a part of their body they are already insecure about.
Right,
so when you tell someone that, turn your butt, so that your butt can look bigger.
No, it's not going to fly.
You're telling the person has a flat
butt. I get that question every day, man.
Yeah.
Weird. It's a weird question, but yeah.
So why not more like, oh, can you bring your leg forward? Now turn your whole body 90 degrees or towards my arm. I normally use my hand to direct. Okay, turn your body this way towards my hand. Turn your left leg this way. Always try to move the legs and then the shoulders. And then maybe if it's an elbow, you can say, oh, just hold your waist. When they hold your waist, you say, okay, take your hand from your waist and then put it on your other shoulder.
It's like a dance routine.
Exactly.
Get the answer to you're going
So
for.
you make it as subtle as possible. Don't pose them in a way that it makes them feel you're trying to compare them to other people. You
Yeah.
go like, give me a very high fashion pose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give me
Right.
a very, like, what do you mean by give me a very high fashion pose? Like, you know. And so
Yeah,
some
the
of
average
these
person you're
things,
shooting won't know what that is. So
yeah.
yeah.
And those are some of the things. One key pet peeve for most models, and I'm being honest because most of the people that you actually send on my page, only just a handful are actually professional model. Most of them are just people that I know or people I've seen around and go like, oh, I want to have a shoot with you. So you'll be very careful when you're using words like, oh, that's sexy, that's, those kind of words.
Time and place words.
Yeah, that's sexy, that's this, that's that, those vulgar, connotations here and there. It's off. So I don't know.
Yeah, and I think that while what you're shooting as well as photographers, we have to be cognizant of the fact that if you end up with certain things that are inappropriate, you can get sued, right? So either you get sued by yourself or your business gets sued. So you have to try to avoid things that is inappropriate. Nobody have to tell you that this kind of sentence or this kind of language is inappropriate, right?
Yeah.
And one thing I always say, it's always a no for me to touch the model, right? I never want to put my hand on the model. Instead, what I would do is, if I'm having a hard time trying to communicate what I want the model to do, I make her mimic me, right? So I try to pose in that same way or that direction that I want her to do, so she can see and follow. The other thing I have learned also is, like Kobby said, to use the hand. So if I want to tilt the hand, I'm going to say, move your hand, your head, maybe tilt it this way, come this way, and then they follow the directions that you're doing with your hands, your hand movement, and your head movement, right? And then, like I said, the key, most important thing for me is don't touch the model.
Yeah, that's a definite.
Don't touch them. Don't even lay your hands on it. Especially for those of us who do a little bit of a boudoir shoot or like the beauty shoots where they are almost half naked. You don't want to get too close to touch to the point where it becomes uncomfortable.
But Brian, one thing too that I would prefer we start or we continue the conversation from is before the shoot, the communication before the shoot.
Yep.
Because if that communication goes wrong, your shoot is going to go very wrong.
I would definitely agree. You have to have a clear idea of what is going to happen even before the shooting starts.
Exactly, because I have models who have complained about how photographers communicate with them, like, "Hey, love. Hey, baby. How are you?" And then they'll go like, "I hope you are going to come to the studio alone." Yeah. For me, most of the
hard for people like us who want to do the right thing.
Exactly.
That kind of behavior that makes it harder.
For me, most of the things that happen is when I contact someone, the first thing I ask them is, I hope you will be coming with someone.
Right, like a friend.
And when they ask, like, okay, why? Then I always go like, oh, it's good to come with someone so that you are not distracted by certain things like a phone call on your phone, or if you want to take a BTS for yourself and all of that, your friend or whoever you came with can help you with that. But then at the end of the day, there is this underlying tone of giving the person that trust that, look, this person actually wants your safety as a priority. So coming with someone shows you are safe. There are a lot of people, especially for outdoor shoots, where they ask that, okay, so where are we going to have the shoot? And then I say, you choose a place which is comfortable for you.
You make them in control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when they say they don't know, I'll make sure I give them more than 3 options.
Yep.
To choose from.
Yeah. So
Because
I can see Tony saying that one thing you can do is show examples of the poses on an iPad or phone, which helps with the shoot. Yeah, I've tried that sometimes too. But it's not
sometimes it's hard.
It's good, but sometimes it's hard because, and also sometimes too, it makes you come across as if you don't know what you're doing.
Yes.
If you're gonna have to show the pose on the phone, right? It's good and it has its ups and downs. And it all depends on what you're shooting or who you're shooting, right? You don't want to come across as someone who doesn't know what they are doing by just referring to everything on your phone, right?
And
So
one thing I would say is that people end up mixing portrait and fashion in the sense that they call people for portrait shoots and end up giving them fashion poses. So it makes it difficult for the models as well. So sometimes encouraging someone by saying, oh, this pose, that pose, it puts them in that spot, especially when whoever is in that picture is someone who is well known for how their features are. It puts them in an uncomfortable spot. So try as much as possible to pose them. One technique that I use, and this to Tony, is when I take some pictures of a model to the point and then I see they are beginning to kind of get lost in the discomfort, I tell them, give me 5 poses. Think of anything you want. Don't think about it for more than 2 seconds. Just do whatever you want. And I will move around 5 times and take a picture. And guess what? Every time we do this, we get some of the best images in it. And after that, they start laughing because some of the poses are so funny. And right afterwards, they calm down, and then you are able to get them to where they want to get to.
Takes the pressure off.
They become comfortable, right? The pressure is off them, and they are more comfortable. Right?
One strategy I use personally is I'll take a bunch of photos, then I'm showing them the back of the camera, saying, "This is what we're getting. This is how it's looking. Now maybe we can try this, just to change this look to this."
Yeah.
And if they see how they're looking and they like how they're looking, it makes them more excited to keep going on too. Instead of thinking, oh, this is going to be a waste of my time. They see the photos and they're like, oh, these look good. We got to keep going with this.
Because it's tough. It's tough.
I've actually handed my cameras to models after shoots too. And say to them, if there's anything you don't like that shows anything you don't want shown, that you're not happy with, delete it off my camera right now. I don't even want to take it.
Yeah. And that's the difference between portraits photography and fashion. For fashion, they are dealing directly with just the producer and creative director. So the model is just doing their professional stuff and they are out of the way. But for portrait, you are bringing out the personality of the person. So
it's more personal.
it's good for the person to have a say in it. I treat my models like, look, you are the princess of the day. If you tell me that just 10 pictures are enough, and you tell me that you want to rest for 5 minutes, I will give that to you if it's within our time frame. Because once that pressure is up and they start feeling tired, you are getting a personality which is tired. If the person's A game is not on that day, postpone it.
If you're doing a portrait like that, you're collaborating on creating an image.
Yeah.
You need to be working together as a team and not just
you.
Not just you. It's both of you working together to create a final product.
Yeah. And one thing I would say is that if you look at my IG, I sometimes shoot younger females, right?
Why are you saying younger? Is it because of the gray hair you have?
No, I'm just saying younger in terms of age, right? Underage. People under the age of 18, I would say, right? And in all those instances, it's very important that you let them know not to come alone. They have to be there with an adult supervisor who is over 18.
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes if somebody would think that why is it all these protocols and stuff in place, but it's to protect you and also protect the person you're shooting. Right. You want to avoid any legal issues at all costs, and you also want to make sure that both of you are protected and safe. And
That's,
so
in that instance too, I hand the camera to the girl, but I also hand the camera to the parents.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure you're comfortable with everything that's here as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough. It's all about man management. It's all about how you treat the person like a human being.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
That's the important thing, because it's hard. It's hard, one, for someone to accept you, a stranger, for who you are and say that, okay, I'm willing to stand in front of this person's camera or get to this person's studio or get to this location and have a total stranger take pictures of me. If you are not able to exude that kind of confidence in the model, it becomes difficult. And I always say that I always bring the team back to the beginning, which is the initial conversation.
Yeah.
Because one of the ways that I text models on Instagram is to say, hey, I've gone through your gallery. I love your images there. I would like us to collaborate on a project. It's a TFP. You're going to get the images. You can use them for non-commercial marketing. And then I can also use them for my portfolio. And then sometimes I go further. If the person is professional, I go further and say, however, if this is not what you are interested in, do let me know your day rate. Then sometimes they tell me, oh, I like your pictures as well. I would like us to collaborate. Let's discuss more. Some of them will also say that, well, at the moment, I'm not looking at TFP, but my day rate is, say, $100 a day. And then I tell them back, all right, so I'll get back to you when I have a need for that.
Yep.
It's as simple as that, as cordial as possible. Get that out of the way. Let the person know this is what we are going for. If they agree, then you can go further and say, okay, these are the ideas that I have in mind. You can also look for some ideas so that we can shoot. Keep it as professional as you can without being too extremely formal.
Yeah, you don't want to be robotic.
Yeah, we are human beings.
Yep.
I mean, ask the person, how are you doing? There's nothing wrong with how are you doing, but don't ask the person, what are you wearing?
Yeah.
Well, sometimes I do ask though, but that's when after we've settled on the shoot and we are trying to determine a concept, right?
Yeah.
So in a situation where I'm expecting the model to come with her own clothing, I'm going to try to figure out what kind of clothing you're bringing, the colors and stuff.
Yeah.
So if I have to
I went with the what are you wearing right now?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you send the same message.
Yeah. That's one thing. Like,
just open communication is so important.
And setting the expectations right from the very beginning when you start to communicate, making sure that both of you are on the same page, and you understand what the shoot is about, right? The concept. Because if you call someone and says we're having a portrait shoot and a person comes there and you want her in lingerie, right?
Yeah,
that's not what she agreed to.
Disconnect.
There's a big disconnect. So you got to make sure that you guys are on the same page as to what we are shooting, what it's for, where we're going to show it, where I'm going to display it. If you're comfortable with it, let's do it. If you're not, I move on to find somebody else who is.
Yeah.
Or do something with you that you are comfortable with.
Yeah, or do something with you that you're comfortable with.
So let's ask Paul. Let's ask Paul, since Paul shoots a lot of cityscapes and landscapes.
Yeah,
let's ask you, if you were to go into shooting, models and portraits, what are some of the things that you would like us to let you know to do. You ask the questions. You ask us
You
the
want me to
questions.
ask the questions?
Yeah, go for it. Because you do less portrait work than any of us. So
Yeah. So I want to ask you questions about what am I supposed to be the model?
No.
just as someone who wants to get into more portraits.
Yeah.
I'm thinking now.
I'm putting you on the spot.
Putting
I'm
you on
so
the spot,
happy.
but I could probably think of something. Well, I think really, like, I think you really need to have an idea, like, for the photographer, you really need to have an idea of, like, what's the goal of the shoot? Like, what do you want to get out of it? And then you have to relay that to, like, the model, the person, the guy or the girl or whatever, and then you have to see if there's like a connection there. So I guess really the question is, how do you go about relaying your vision to that person to make sure that they understand your vision and if they agree to that or not?
Yeah.
Okay, you go first on that one.
Yeah. So I always say that, especially if you are paying someone for a shoot, if you are paying a model, or if you want a model for a shoot, you have to first have it in your mind that all you are asking from that person is for the person to show up.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
if you need the person to bring any other thing to the shoot, you are actually begging the person to do so. It's not the model's responsibility to provide outfit, makeup.
Mm-hmm. That's your responsibility.
That's yours.
Because
You are just asking that, oh, do you have this there? So I try to streamline it as much as possible. For instance, if I have a specific kind of outfit that I want, I ask the model first, oh, do you have an outfit like this? If they say no, the next thing I do is to send them a color palette and say, do you have outfits within this color range? You can let me know if you have them. If you can't get the outfit yourself, you have to compensate with whatever they are bringing.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to ask the person, can you do your own makeup? If they say no, you should ask yourself two things. Can you shoot without makeup? Or do you have to get someone and collaborate and bring on a collaboration as a makeup artist? I used to do most of my shoots without makeup for different reasons. But then you have to let the person know that, oh, we are in this together. Because once you keep asking, oh, you need to bring a white trousers, you need to bring a white suit, you need to do your makeup, you need to bring 6-inch heels. The next question they are going to ask you is, well, how much are you going to pay me? We've not discussed payment.
Because it's turning into a job now.
Exactly.
Because if you start saying you need to, then basically, even if they don't have it, now they have
to get it.
Get it.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to compensate them to go buy that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, we have the viewer question here.
How much retouching do you do? Do you think a model expects you when you do a shoot?
I think for me, that's something, one, you're going to discuss ahead of time. Again, are these going to be heavily edited, stylized in any way, photographer's discretion, or is someone just looking for a more natural kind of shot? And again, that's something that that you're talking about beforehand when you're planning your shoot. And to Tony's other point there, definitely models will choose photographers to work with based on their retouching as well. Just like photographers will look for certain looks, models are going to look for certain looks as well. It's that everybody wants some benefit out of a collaboration. So if a model can get a look that she wants, she'll be more willing to work with someone who can give her that look.
Exactly.
Of course.
And so when it's a collaboration, I'm really open. I give the models a lot of leeway, a lot of input into what we are doing, what the final look is going to be. When it's a paid shoot, that, for example, I'm hiring a model for a day because I have a concept in my head that I want to shoot, then in that case, it's my concept. I'm control how I want to edit it in the final end, because at the end of the day, I'm paying the model to bring about mind concept, right? So in that instance, the model's input to retouching is very limited. When it's a collaboration that we are all both working on to help her with her portfolio whilst helping me with my portfolio, then yes, it's open for discussion on the final look.
Yeah. And my take on this will be, if it's a collaboration, and this is one trick that I've been using for quite a while. If it's a collaboration with a model, I make sure that at the end of the day, I'm going to provide this model with Polaroids. So I try to take some pictures before the makeup.
Okay.
Because what happens is most of the models prefer not to work with certain photographers because they heavily retouch their images. Now, one thing that most photographers don't know is that heavily retouched images are rejected for casting, or they are rejected by agencies from their models.
Mm.
So if, for instance, my kind of retouching, which is different ways, there are some retouching that I used to use frequency separation. There are some that I did dodge and bend. There are some that I didn't even retouch at all. But then if I feel like in this case, I'm going to use frequency separation, or I'm going to use hello.
Hi.
Laura,
Hi, Laura.
we're just talking about you. No, we weren't.
Yeah. So if I feel in this case, I'm going to use very huge, heavy retouching like frequency separation, extensive dodge and bend. I have to make sure that there are some set of images that the model can still use from the shoot,
Right.
for their portfolio or for their agency or for casting and stuff like that. If I'm unable to do that, then it means the model was ripped off the whole shoot. They didn't get anything from it. Because heavy retouched images don't sell for models.
They don't sell. Welcome,
I
Laura.
don't know if Laura wants to.
Thank you so much for taking the time to jump on this show. You were on with us last time.
Yeah, give us a quick 30-second about you, Laura, just so everyone kind of knows who you are. And
Okay. I'm a model / artist / creative spirit from Toronto. I've been modeling and acting and in that industry for over 10 years. I do special effects makeup. I do catalog modeling. I've done Toronto Fashion Week. I've done a very wide, well-rounded range of things within this industry. I also do photography too. So, yeah.
Killer stuff. Killer stuff.
Yeah, Laura and I have
Thanks.
a lot. So
yeah, there's some really good work there.
Thank you.
Yeah, we've had fun.
Yes.
Halloween, we got to do it again this year.
Every weekend in October, Laura and I have a workshop.
Well,
we got plans. We got
hopefully we
plans.
can leave your house by then. But yeah,
I hope so. God.
we have to move Halloween to July. Who knows?
Hey, I'm down for that too.
Yeah, I'm not against that idea. Just do it twice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So,
Well, thanks for the time. Tony's bangers. Yeah, Tony was at the Halloween. With us.
That was fun.
Tony was at the Halloween show, and he got some bangers. Yeah.
And Scarecrow is cool.
Yeah.
It was fun. Yes. So anyway, the reason that I invited Laura to be on tonight was just to get the perspective from the other side of the camera.
Totally.
Just all of us talking about how we like to talk to models, maybe get perspective from a model on how they like to be talked to and what's important to them. So
yeah, exactly. And
okay. So I guess like for me personally, I don't like too much direction. Like if a photographer comes up and goes, well, let's just move your hand like that. I'm like, really? You could have just like said something. I guess I like to be able to have creative flow and to do the things that I want to do while taking, I guess, minimal direction from a photographer. I'm not a fan of photographers who are like overly complimentary because it can come off a little bit a little bit intense sometimes. Brian knows. He's like, I know exactly which stories you're referring to.
We've talked about this.
I hope you're going to share those stories with us. We love to hear them.
Without names.
Without names, obviously. I had one photographer who just kept complimenting me over and over again, and then it eventually escalated to, "Do you have a boyfriend?" And I was like, well, I didn't at the time, but I just said, "Yeah, actually, I'm engaged. Like, I'm set. Like, it's not gonna happen." Photographers sometimes will, people who are, I guess, obviously the more, this is definitely more in the indie photography realm. I've never had anything like this happen at a shoot that was like specifically for a product or specifically for a company. I had a photographer who asked me, like, he was much older than me, and he asked me on a date, and I thought he was joking, so I laughed, and he was like, "Oh no, I'm serious." And I'm like, "Oh, well, all right." The answer is no. And then he just stopped booking me. So I was like, okay, cool, whatever. I guess now I know why I was getting booked for those jobs. Overall, it's good to separate those kind of things and to have that boundary. Like, I'm all for being friends with photographers. Like, me and Brian have formed a really good friendship over the years. But there's definitely a line that should not be crossed in that realm, which I'm sure is super obvious, but it's happened to me enough times that I think that maybe it's not obvious to some people. Telling me where my lights are is also a very good one. Although I can see the light, and you might think I know exactly where the lights are and how they're hitting me, I don't. So sometimes Brian will be like, "FYI, Laura, light right there. Like, you don't see this giant thing?" And I'll be like, "Oh, okay, right. All right, look this way. I understand." So that's always a good one. And I think if like your hair is messed up, or if like the clothes look weird, like, always point it out to the model. They're not going to be like embarrassed to be like, "Oh, this like awkward piece of hair that's like flying all over the place." I will just like fix that. Yeah.
How about people touching your hair?
Not a fan, but like if it's necessary, like it's okay. Like I'm sure Brian has touched my hair with like crazy makeups that we've done where I've been like, "I physically can't move. Can you do it?" Yeah. Definitely is something that happens. Usually it's a makeup artist or stylist who jumps in and is like fixing my hair, which is totally cool. And I don't mind if the photographer does it, as long as they say they're doing it ahead of time. Otherwise, I'm like, "What are you touching?" Yeah.
Well, I think that there's certain merit to the fact of, like, with you and I, just the number of times we've worked together.
Yeah, I can't even count it at this point.
So you develop a friendship and an understanding of how things go.
Yeah,
and a good rhythm.
You build that comfort level with the person, right? Because if it's shooting together for a long time, so it gets to the point where the comfort level is there, and so this person is not going to try anything silly, right? And I get your point about some photographers being creepy because
sketchy places in the middle of the night.
Yeah, I tell you, there's so many of them out there who just pick up the camera because they think a camera is gonna get them closer to girls, right? And so they go out there being creepy and ruining things for everyone.
Yeah.
The other one that I get a lot is photographers complaining that I have a rate. They basically they say like, "Oh, we want to shoot whatever," and then they get mad. And then when I say, "Okay, my rate is whatever an hour," they go, "What? Are you serious?" I'm like, Yeah, it's a job. It's like what I do for a living. And to answer Ryan's question here, Laura, do you like to have music during a photo shoot? I like the 1975. I think that's really zen music. That's kind of friendly and poppy. What helps you get in the mood and comfortable for a shoot? I think that because I've done it so long, I don't really need to like get in a zone. I just can like turn it on and off like a switch. Some of my model friends though, they have like a process that they go through before a shoot. They'll like give them like themselves like a spa day or something. They like do their nails, their hair, they relax in the tub, and then they like play some music and like get in their zone that they want to be in. I think it just depends who you are. For me, like something that I like, especially on shoots where it's like catalog-y or for a specific product, I guess more commercial stuff. If the photographer is like, "Oh, let's have fun for like 15 minutes before we actually start shooting this catalog thing," if I haven't shot with them before, because it builds a good repertoire between the photographer and the model, and it also sets like a really nice okay, this is a fun setup. It's not all going to be like super professional and like we can delete photos, we can do crazy things, and it just makes you want to be more creative as well.
Gets in that flow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Good question, Ryan.
Good question, Ryan. Keep them coming. If you guys have questions for
Is
Laura.
that the friend of yours that wanted the link?
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so guys, don't forget the comments are there for you. If you have any questions,
Yeah, please.
for any of us or Laura in particular, leave them all down there, and we can all read it through and get some answers for you.
Yeah, for sure. So what?
Yeah.
So Laura, what makes?
And whilst you are on it,
Go ahead, Kobby. Go ahead, Kobby.
no, I was saying that whilst you're on it, they shouldn't forget to hit the thumbs up.
Yeah, hit the thumbs up. Yeah.
Hit the thumbs up.
Yeah.
Laura's key is linked in the bottom too, just in case you want to check.
Thanks.
Yeah, exactly. No, I was just gonna ask, like, what makes Brian so good to work with besides the obvious stuff? Like, what is it? Just like a natural flow? Like, what was I guess at the start? What made it so good?
I think at the start we were both kind of new to it. I reached out to Brian because I thought he was somebody else who someone had recommended to me to do headshots. I was on Facebook. I was like, "Hey, you're a photographer. You do headshots," and he was like, yeah, okay." And then it turned out it wasn't the right Brian, but wrong Brian McGowan, but that's all right.
Yeah.
It worked out.
You had the wrong Brian?
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious. Wow.
Yeah.
It was-
7 years ago now, I guess.
It was a long time ago. Yeah.
you got the wrong Brian for a headshot.
Yeah, but it's okay. I mean, they were good. I used them. So, and I guess we just sort of, grew together in the right way. Like our skill set both grew kind of at the same time. And he is very, good at things that I respect. Like he's very good at lighting my face in the way I like to see it. But aside from that, he also is open to like giving me some creative direction on stuff. Like if I have something I want to shoot, I go to Brian before I even put it out there. I'll just be like, "Hey, I have this crazy idea. Do you want to do it?" And like pretty much every time he says yes. Fuels my special effects makeup hobby for sure.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Does it take you to the abandoned places?
We've been to a few.
Some banger photos, man.
Yeah.
There's some banger photos there.
We
I
have fun.
just like the actually even the last shot you guys did in the water.
Oh,
I was
man.
telling Brian that you were a trooper because
In
in the
December.
water in the cold weather in December, man.
Brian has a history of making me do
That's
crazy
great.
things. So I like half jokingly was like, what would be really cool is if I got in the water in the middle of December. And he was like, "If you want to, you can." And I was like, "You know what? I'm going to do it. Polar bear dip. Let's go."
Yep.
Yeah. All my idea. He did not force me in any way.
How cold?
I was actually going to be nice to you that day.
I know you told me, but I changed my mind on that. I decided to go in myself. It was really cold.
How
I
long was
couldn't
it?
feel my feet after. I think I only lasted maybe a few minutes, maybe not even a minute.
It was, I think I got 10 frames, and then you were out of the water.
Were you on burst mode, Brian?
No, I was using flash.
All right, just to ask a question, what is one way that a photographer will be able to reach you on IG for a TFP that you would accept?
It has to be a concept that's going to blow my mind. Because I do this as like a job. It's not just a hobby. It has to really resonate with me and really be something that I want to do. And the photographer also has to be at a caliber that I feel is at my caliber of modeling. Like I don't want to show up to a shoot and have to teach the photographer how to do their job, and vice versa. As a photographer, I hate when I have to teach my model how to do their job. So I want to get the impression that it's going to be a really solid flow without having to, I guess, put in a lot of time and effort to get the photographer where I want them to be, if that makes sense. Like I know that chart's been floating around. Like if you're a beginner, you pay this person, you pay that person. If you're advanced, you TFP with this person pays you. I think that chart is very good. I think every photographer and model in Toronto has seen it at this point.
Yeah.
There's that photo of you in the water.
That one.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's okay. Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense because you don't want to spend extra time doing someone else's job too. Yeah. Interesting. So really, like, research the person that you want to contact.
Yeah.
Or you're gonna say, "Hey, do you want to do this?" Like, you need to understand who you're talking to.
I accept very few TFPs. I think that they need to be able to add to my portfolio in a way that has not already been put in. So because I've been doing this for so long, my portfolio is quite diverse and quite big and extensive. So it's got to be something really cool.
Yeah. I think you've really said an important thing there, which is when someone is looking for a model to shoot, one thing to look out for especially is to go through their gallery and then see how best that concept can fit into their portfolio.
Yeah.
Not something they've already done, but something you think can add value to it. I think that's a valid point. I'm writing it down.
I've already written it down.
So I have a question here from Ryan. He says, I see you do a lot of nature photography, but also modeling. How do you choose what subject matter you want to shoot? I shoot everything. I just take a lot of photos of a lot of different things.
Brian likes to shoot light. I think that's what your subject matter actually is. At the end of the day, I think you're taking pictures of light and how light reflects off things. Whether it's a model or a cup in an abandoned building, that's what you're taking the photo of.
That's a mission statement.
Yeah.
Mission statement. Write that down.
Laura just summed up my style right there.
Yeah.
And Laura, do you think it's bad for a photographer to say, look, I have this concept, I'm looking for this kind of model, and I think you would be a fit for it?
Why would that be?
Get-go.
So you wouldn't be a good fit, or you would be a good fit?
No, you would be. Like, that's the first conversation. Like, hi, I have this concept.
That's the DM.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a DM. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, because it's clear and it's quick and right to the point.
And they're not paying you. It's a TFP.
It depends then on all the other things that I said. Depends on the concept, depends on the photographer, the skill set. If they said specifically like, oh, we like your look, we want someone like you, and it wasn't something I was interested in, I know a lot of models, so I'd probably actually recommend someone else to do it as well. So then they get what they're looking for, and they can still do their shoot if it's not something I'm interested in.
Do you prefer it that way, or you prefer the other way where they go like, oh, hi, I like your work, I like your page, I have a concept, if you are down for it, we can discuss further? Which one do you prefer?
As a photographer, I prefer the second one just because I never want to divulge everything to somebody who I might not be working with. But probably as a model, I prefer the first way just because it's to the point and I can decide right away if it's something that I want to do or not. And like the flattery is great, but I think that if you just go and like a bunch of photos, I'll get the same impression. So Laura, do you go out and contact certain photographers you want to work with, or are you strictly working with photographers that contact you? It's rare that I'll contact anyone anymore. I definitely used to. I'd say probably in the last 3 or 4 years, I've kind of stopped. And I think it's mostly because I've pretty much just doing paid work, and it's kind of awkward to contact a photographer and be like, hey, I would like to work with you, please pay me. So there's always a few. Like there was one photographer that I reached out to who was doing some really cool compositing stuff in Photoshop, and I was like, hey, I like your work, we should work together. And he was like, great, what's your rate? I was like, oh, okay, excellent, all right, that worked out very well for me. But it's rare that I will reach out. Yeah.
That's at this point in your career, right? Yeah. But if it was the early stages, you would.
Yeah, of course. Early stages, I was reaching out to lots of people.
Yeah. So that's why I always tell people that if you're starting out, your best bet is also look for models that are starting out, because just like Laura was saying that she grew skill sets with Brian, you get to have that same kind of experience where you can potentially find someone who's also beginning, and by you helping them build their portfolio, you guys develop together and build some kind of bond, right? But like she said also, I mean, if you're going to message someone, a model on Instagram, it's important to have an idea in mind already, right? You don't just go and message someone and says, oh, let's do a shoot, and then he asks, what do you want to shoot? And you don't know what you want to.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, like, Laura, how does that feel like when someone contacts you? Oh, we should work together, and then you go like, okay, what concept do you have in mind? And then they go like, well, I don't know, we can figure something out.
Usually, I say like, well, you're the one who messaged me, so I want to make sure that as you're paying me, I fulfill what you're looking for. And if they really don't have a concept, then I will try to help them come up with one. Like if they say, oh, I want to just do like headshots, I'll be like, okay, well, we can do some cool headshots, maybe like props. I'll try to add to, I guess, what their portfolio needs are and why they're reaching out in the first place. Thank you.
But then doesn't that throw red flags to you? Like a photographer wants to work with me, but has no concept.
Well, if it's a paid job, I don't really care that much. I usually scout my people before I go if it's someone I haven't worked with before to make sure I'm safe. I'll sometimes message other models they have worked with just to confirm that like everything went as planned. They were like on time. They didn't do anything that violated any boundaries, stuff like that. So, I mean, as long as it's paid, if they don't know what they're doing, that's okay. It just means that it's it just means that it's practice for them and probably something they can learn from as well, which I think is a good thing.
Wow.
You're a good poser too, so you're good for beginning photographers to work with.
Thanks.
We are learning. I hope Paul, you are learning. You stop.
I'm ready.
Taking pictures of buildings. Buildings don't complain.
I'm going to be DMing Laura right after this show, so I think things will go.
Amazing.
So Laura, he's a beginning portrait photographer, so you charge him higher.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Laura, do you have any work plan this year, or is it just on hold because of COVID?
A lot of it is on hold because of COVID. I'm just doing like the odd thing here and there. Pre-lockdown, there was stuff that was planned for sure that's been more postponed. I was supposed to go to New York for Fashion Week, but like I don't think that's going to happen. Are usually paid at the beginning or end of shoot. Do photographers ever tip? What if it goes overtime? Okay, photographers, in my experience, have never tipped. If it goes overtime, I'm not going to be a horrible person about it. If it's like 20 minutes, I just kind of fluff it off. And if it's generally, I ask for an e-transfer. If it's someone I haven't worked with before, I ask for it at the beginning of the shoot. If it's cash, I just ask to see that they have the cash. I had one experience where they told me it was paid, and then they were like, oh, I have to go to the bank to get it at the end of the shoot. And I was like, okay. So I went to the bank and I got the money, but I spent like 20 minutes at the bank with this guy getting my money for my shoot. So I send a message and just say, if you're paying in cash, I want to see that you have it when we start shooting. You don't have to physically put it in my hand if you're not comfortable with that. But yeah.
Weird. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it's a tough call for that one. I normally at least pay a deposit to win the trust of the person, to get the person into the studio or the location.
Yeah.
Then right after the shoot, I give the person the rest.
That's a good idea. I like that method for sure.
If I've worked with you before, I normally pay upfront.
Yeah.
Even sometimes days before, because you don't know what the person wants to do with the cash. I prefer to give people headroom to do stuff on their own without me constraining them much.
Yeah, it's definitely a good way. I like that way. I haven't had that happen yet, but I enjoy that idea.
Brian, you don't pay her up front?
I will not discuss the rate.
We're not going to discuss our payment method.
Confidential, man.
Don't mind me. I'm just messing with Brian.
Yeah, confidential, guys.
Yeah.
Top secret X-File type stuff.
NDA.
NDA, yep.
Thanks for covering all my questions, Ryan. Have a great night. Thanks for running the stream. We're not done yet, Ryan.
Yeah,
keep watching.
Hey, and guys, don't forget, subscribe to Brian's channel, right? We're trying to get Brian up to 250 by the end of the month.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Brian, hurry up. Catch up with me. What are you doing?
Right? You're more niche than I am, though. So, like, I'm all over the place.
I love your videos.
Thanks.
I'm being honest. I watch your videos more than I watch Paul's videos.
You lie.
Because you are normally in Paul's videos.
Oh man, right through my heart, man. Right through my heart.
We're always all in Paul's videos. You know?
There's always my videos. Now I
always end up in Paul's videos.
Just talking nonsense by myself. I look like a crazy person.
So Laura, let me just ask. This will probably be the roundup situation here. When you are shooting on a commercial gig, has there ever been a time where the photographer doesn't even communicate with you? You are only communicating with the creative director or just the makeup?
Yeah, I had it happen more than once, but the one that like sticks out was I did a thing for Pan Am Games, and that was mostly just, sorry, my cat's just like in the background here with her tail. That was mostly just communicating with a creative director and makeup artist. There was not a lot of communication with the photographer, and I think that in that instance, because it was such a commercial thing, it was more the photographer's job was the lighting setup and getting that really technically done well, and then the creative director kind of took over from there. But usually it's photographer, makeup artist, stylist, everyone gets to say what they want to say and direct in a way that they want to, especially in a situation like TFP stuff, because everyone's looking for something else. And what I'm looking for might not be what the designer wants to see, or maybe the makeup artist wants more headshots. So I think it's good that everybody is vocal and communicative and does get what they want out of shoots.
Okay, and just a follow-up question to that. If, let's say, it's a TFP or a collaboration, which way would you prefer the communication to be? Would you guys want to discuss everything, all the details before the shoot day, or you would like to do a run and gun kind of scenario whilst you guys figure out whilst you're shooting?
It depends who it is. With Brian, I know we can run and gun it. We've done shoots in like 10 minutes or less. So
at this moment, Brian doesn't count anymore.
I haven't really done a lot of TFPs in a while. I guess maybe the last ones that I've done sort of towards the end of my TFP reign, or probably like general concepts. It wasn't like details. It would be like, okay, we're gonna do like this 1920 style whatever. You're bringing this, I'm bringing this. We'll like figure something out when we get there. I think that if you're gonna do a TFP and you feel you need every single detail of the shoot, you probably shouldn't be doing it. I think there has to be some trust both ways in the photographer and in the model. Like if you want to make a mood board with like a few poses or general ideas, that's cool. But if they're literally there with like a catalog and going, do this pose, this pose, this pose, that's really, really annoying. So, yeah.
We got a question from Tony here for you, Laura.
Laura with SPFX Makeup. I hear some models don't like doing those shoots because you never get to see their true face as a model. How do you feel about that? Well, actually, I have a reason that I like to model my own special effects makeup, and that is because I don't actually trust other models to become the character I want them to be. I actually think it's harder when you can't see a face and you have to use either very subtle expressions or body language to convey a character, and I think that's a lot harder than being able to show everything up here. I think I've done a lot of special effects shoots with Brian, and I think we've got a good flow going for those. And also, it's my special effects makeup, so obviously I want to like have that be seen, and I don't really care if it's my face or not. I think part of being a model is you have to spend so much time being beautiful that sometimes it's just kind of fun to be like ugly.
Well, I got to tell you, from a photography point of view, I love shooting the special effects.
Yeah, I think we gotta hire Laura to do a concept, one crazy concept. That one we don't know. We just show up and shoot. You plan the whole idea. We'll talk about that later. You plan what we're shooting. We just show up and shoot.
Just to add on to Tony's question and Laura's response, to be very honest, most professional models really don't like doing special effects makeup shoots. They don't, because they don't feel like it fits into their portfolio on a very large scale.
I think if they want to do like acting, I think that it would actually be very
So
helpful.
it's kind of niched in a way.
Yeah.
But then most people who don't want to be that niche, especially at the beginning stages of their career, so it's quite difficult getting
I
them.
think it would be a good thing to have, even if it's not part of your like official portfolio that you send out to casting directors, even if it's just something you throw up on Instagram to show that you've got some like diversity is always a good thing, and that you're willing to try things that are not within your niche is always a plus. I think if I'm going to hire a model and they're like, I was willing to, you know, dress up as like this crazy zombie and get into the river in like the middle of January and do this insane thing, then I'm like, okay, so this person is going to be willing to try whatever crazy idea I want to throw out there, and we're probably going to get something really creative and really cool.
Yeah.
I have a really burning question, Laura. What's your favorite Star Wars movie?
I like the I think I like episode 6, so the third one that came out with the Ewoks.
Interesting.
Yeah, they're super cute.
Cool. I love that photo of you in the Star Wars poster that you posted on IG.
Thanks.
Cool. I don't know, Brian, if you can show that real quick.
No,
IG?
my computer's locked up actually, so I can't do anything.
All right.
Alas,
it's really good. Anyway,
well, you can't do anything, Brian, which means we are going all night with this live day.
Yeah, basically,
the live will last forever.
Unless you get control, I'll delete at this point. we're just gonna go all night. Let's try and set a live broadcast record here. Let's do it.
Well, you're gonna get your 4,000 hours in one night.
Yeah,
that's possible.
So Laura, I know I don't know why I'm the one asking all the questions. Maybe because I'm in California and you guys are Canadians.
Yeah.
They are too nice.
We're trying, man.
Yeah. So was there a shoot? Let me see, can you recount a shoot that you really enjoyed and why you enjoyed that shoot? Apart from a shoot with Brian. Brian is out. Yeah.
All right. So if we eliminate Brian, I really enjoyed the Star Wars shoot that Paul mentioned. That was really fun because it was pretty much all done in compositing afterwards. So my like inner film major, I guess, got really nostalgic over it. Like I was holding a lens cap and pretending it was a lightsaber and like running around the beaches of Toronto, which was just really fun. And I did another thing actually for Pan Am Games, which is where I had a flag painted on my face, an American flag, and I was like Face of America for Pan Am. That one was really cool, just because I liked talking to the makeup artist. I asked her like probably more questions than a model should ask a makeup artist. I was just hyper curious about how she got into the industry, how she got her job. And this is before I started doing special effects makeup. And she had mentioned that like, oh, she had done like work on like different movies and different sets. So I was super curious because I thought it was really cool. Yeah, I would say those are maybe my top two outside of Brian and our adventures to abandoned places.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you a thesis question. This is a thesis question. My question is, you are a model and then you are a photographer.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at the mindset of a model and the mindset of a photographer, what can you say is the difference between the two mindsets?
I guess the photographer is generally the person with the vision and the dream, and the model is helping make that vision and dream become a reality. So the model is more of an aid into constructing someone else's dream, whereas the photographer is holding the concept and holding the creative ability. The photographer also has to be willing to work in post. So they actually spend a lot more time with the images than the model does. And I think that takes a lot more dedication. Like for me, when I take photos, I get to a point where I'm in editing and I'm going, it's not exactly what I want, but it's good enough. And I just am done with it. Whereas I think if I had a better photographer mindset, I would sit there for 2 hours and get it to be exactly how I'd want it to be. And I think that's probably why I do more modeling work than photography work, because I don't have the same creative dedication that I think a photographer would have.
So you would say that the mindset of the photographer should always be at all times knowing that they own the shoot.
Yeah,
It
I think so.
Them the output. because the model's mindset is that they are there to do the part of the modeling to make sure that dream comes true.
Yeah.
Whatever is going on that shoot is on the photographer.
I think so.
They shouldn't lose that.
Yeah.
When they lose that,
I think when they lose that, and I've had it happen on several shoots, it just is a sign of someone who is a new photographer, and they don't really know what they're doing, and they don't really know what they want yet.
Yeah.
Great. There is a question here for
Tony has.
Yeah. Maybe I should just read it out for you.
Yeah, go for it.
I think we already did this one.
Which models out there have influenced you?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I think Brian's
a different one.
So
Brian's
my computer's frozen.
Okay, sorry. Yeah.
I'm hanging on so that the broadcast keeps going, and then I have to do a Control-Alt-Delete here. So.
Okay, so what? Sorry, what is the question?
Which models out there have influenced you? Asked by Tony.
Probably Coco Rocha is my most influenced. I guess I've been most influenced by her. I think she's really creative with her posing. She has a dance background, which definitely aids in her creativity and her poses. I've seen videos of her where the photographer just sits there and like holds it on like rapid fire, and she just goes and does her thing, which is super cool.
Side note, she liked one of the photos we did together too.
She did. Yes, really? I've actually had contact with her for a little while. She runs a model boot camp type thing, so we've been discussing some like business ideas, things like that. So
Super cool. Awesome.
I'm coming to Toronto soon.
You gotta come up, man.
Yeah, come say hi.
Come up now. The border.
I just followed you on IG, by the way. I love your work.
Thank you. I followed back.
I'll come to Toronto because I need to come see Paul before Paul sees me.
Yeah. Well, it's great. The border's open, man. Everything is fine here.
Yeah, you and Meeks gotta come. We gotta have one open shadow show where we are all in the same space.
Yeah. That would be great.
You know?
That would be awesome.
That will be our last show.
The grand finale.
Yeah.
I'll bring the fireworks.
Yep, that's it.
Yep.
So should we wrap this up so you can once your computer?
Yeah, because I can't do anything right now. So.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Now Evans is gone.
Oh, we lost Evans all of a sudden.
We lost Evans too. Maybe his computer crashed too.
Cool. Anyway, thanks so much, Laura, for taking the time and coming on and answering our silly questions. And
No problem.
I think people got something out of it. And yeah, it just goes to show you that there's a lot of things that go into a portrait shoot. And hopefully this helped you in your next portrait shoot so you can get the most out of it for both you and your model. So go subscribe to Brian also. And go follow Laura _alien.
Follow everybody.
Her princess.
Yeah.
Also follow.
Yeah. Laura, thank you so much. Thank you
problem.
so much for coming on board. It's been excellent. Right now, you've really increased my rep when it comes to Paul because now he respects what I do.
I respect
It's been wonderful. Thank you so much for jumping on and answering all my thesis questions.
That's okay. They're good questions, guys. Good questions.
Yeah. And Brian, thank you so much for the lighting effect you have going on there. I love it.
Very dark and moody.
Yeah. Evans can't get back in because Brian's screen is frozen. It's the same.
I can't even hear you guys anymore. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you. Okay, so this is.
Last. Okay.
I don't even know if you can hear me.
Thanks, everyone.
The end. All right. I'm
See you next Wednesday.
Oh, I can hear you
let's
again. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Peace.
I can hear you again. Yay.
That's funny.
Take care, everybody. Goodbye.
Guys.
Are you guys still there?
Yes. Did you end it?
No. No, I have to close Chrome. So I'll chat with you guys in WhatsApp after. All right. Take care, guys. I have to close Chrome. So I'll chat with you guys in WhatsApp after. All right. Take care, guys.